Hi everyone. So I am making a video for you tonight because I had some questions about the SIRs. I still have not received an email back from the DOE about what they would specifically like to see for the strategies. So I went over the rubrics and I talked to some other retail teachers, and I am going to tell you what we decided would be the best. The first thing I wanted to share with you is some people asked how to work with ELL students and teach them the vowels. And I said I would take a picture of one of the teachers' classrooms that I work with, and she has this poster. And the kids reference that a lot when they're working on vowels. Another thing you can do is show them how the English vowels translate into Spanish. Now I wanted to go over generally what you need to do for the SIRs. So as long as you pass it in and it's your own work, I've given everyone exemplary for that. As long as it is on time, I've given everyone exemplary for that. For mechanics, most people have double checked and it's edited, and I've been giving mechanics exemplary. If I give exemplary for all of those and you get distinguished for everything else, the highest grade you will get is an 82. The Department of Education has stated that giving exemplaries for anything like lesson sequence or content objective or language objective is very, very abnormal. So what I assume people will be shooting for then is exemplary for these first three parts and then distinguish for the rest. If you were to get that, the highest you could get is an 82. So I just wanted that to be known because I know that the rubrics are very rigorous. So when you go into lesson sequence specifically, I have included two that I thought were very, very complete that I got for the last SIR. So the reason that these two are so complete is because the lesson sequence is clear. That's true, and if it's bulleted or numbered, it is clear, but also it's in a context. These different parts are explained. Even if it's a short sentence like this, that's still in a context. It's still explained. So make sure that when you're giving me a lesson sequence, this is like what your agenda is with a little bit more of an explanation. In regards to content objective, when you look at it in the rubric, if it's generic or doesn't specifically say which Common Core it connects to, it's a 7. But if you can give me the Common Core standard and the students will be able to, that's what's going to get you the distinguished points. So I do need the Common Core standard along with the students will be able to. In regards to the language objectives, so specifically, I need one overarching language objective. And in that overarching language objective, I do need to see all 4 parts. So I need to see what domain you are covering, what content you are covering, the language function, and then the differentiation. I feel like most of the SIRs I got just needed to have one more of those things for the specific language objective. So that might just be adding in, this will be done with a graphic organizer, or with sentence stems, or with a word bank with the vocabulary. For language function, using the present tense, using the past tense, using transition words. It's just a little thing that's missing. The next part I need is that when it asks for the differentiation and proficiency levels, I need at least 2 proficiency levels to be explained. So clearly what you see here is extra, but it does explain to me different levels. That is fine. You don't even need this part if you do not want to include it. But I just need at least 2 levels that you differentiate for, and I can see this is with single words, this has short sentences, oh, and this has more than one sentence to describe pictures. In regards to tiered vocabulary, I actually feel like most people did a really good job on this, and I gave higher points for this part because everyone seemed to understand it. The only thing that I would add is maybe, as you can see in this one, the specific vocab that was focused on was highlighted, but everyone did a really good job with this part. As for reflections, they're really asking for a lot with reflections, and the difference is mainly what specific plans do you have for the future, for implementation, refinement, and having specific students. So I don't have it in these examples, but some other people in the class actually included quotes from students or talked specifically about how one student accessed a word that might have been difficult for him or her. As you can see that most of these reflections are about a paragraph long, or at least 3 to 4 sentences long, and talk about next steps. So that's really what I need. I need the next steps, how you would implement it in the future, and what happened with your specific students. So now I'm going to go through what each SRI is looking for. And this again is what the other retail teachers and I have discussed, just because I have not received an email yet back from the DOE, and I know you all want answers, and I know you all want to get this done in a timely manner, so I'm trying to get you whatever information you need. So for the Think Aloud, what I am going to be looking for is that you have a script. So not only will I be looking for the script, but over here, and I know it's kind of hard to read, it says that it uses a strategy for understanding unfamiliar words or phrases. So what I would want to see in the script is this process. How are you helping students understand words they don't know? How are you making connections to another text? And how do you talk about your thoughts? I would say that this is probably going to be you explaining 2 to 3 paragraphs. And just to give you an example, when I did the Think Aloud, and this is on page 87 in your participants manual, I read this to you. Let's read about the honeybee situation. I would consider this 1 paragraph. So if you gave me 2 of these, I feel like that's a fine script. Now, when you are writing this script, these are the areas that you can focus on. So I would pick 1 and focus on that. So in this honeybee script, I am focusing on this vocabulary that should have been pre-taught. I talk about entomologist. I talk about the word hive. That's what's focused on there. Maybe if you do language structures, you are focusing on present tense. Oh, look at this sentence. It says that he walks. The S at the end of walks means that it's in the present tense. Maybe that's what you do. Reading comprehension strategies, maybe you are focusing on prefixes or suffixes in words. For connections to other texts, maybe you're focusing on connecting this to something that the kids did the prior week or in another unit. Just make sure to pick one of these 4 sections and focus on them in a script. And again, the script should maybe be 2 to 3 paragraphs. If you are doing SRI 2, the partner reading, it states that to get a distinguished, what you need to do is show forethought and planning to improve meaningful practice. What I think that might mean is you would tell me, because we have these 4 variations, Maybe you have one newcomer group and maybe you have a partner reading for comprehension group. You tell me how each group was separate and what happened with each group, maybe how you differentiated, what issues came up, how it worked well for some of the students. Maybe there's something here where the students had to give you a sentence after they were done reading. I know that for just proficient, it says oral summarization by partners after each paragraph is noted. Again, you could say, this is what the students talked about. That would put you here. But if you had forethought and planning, maybe that's the sentence stems and students were answering those. Maybe that is an open response question or text dependent questions that the students had to answer after they did this partner reading. So I would vary the groups, tell me how you varied them, and then tell me how the students were assessed for their partner reading. And this is just what the partner reading protocol looks like. So this is just one example of the format you could follow. The next one is the reciprocal reading. So as long as you have all 4 parts done, technically you would be reaching proficient. To get distinguished, it needs to enhance the student's ability to access the mentor text. And to show that, I would maybe pull out quotes for what students said to show that they were really understanding the text because of this strategy. So when answering this part, I would talk about what specifically you did to model reciprocal reading, how you assigned maybe these roles, maybe you gave stronger students clarifier, weaker students questioner. I would discuss one paragraph that maybe students talked about, and I would give specific examples about what the students said when they were creating a question, what they said when they were clarifying that question, what they were saying in the summary, and what they were saying as a prediction. I think as long as you explain these roles and give me exact quotes or information from your students, that should be fine. And lastly, you can do the text-dependent questions. So over here it says formulate text-dependent questions to access the mentor text. This one says uses Bloom's verbs. So what I would do is I would maybe split up your room into 6 groups, give each group one different level of Bloom's, make me a question using this verb. And then when you submit your SIR, you give me those actual questions that the students made using those Bloom's words and talking about how it connected to the mentor text. I know many of you said you had your finals coming up. So how did this connect to your finals? Maybe use it as Jeopardy game and just let me know what you are doing. If you have any other questions, please email me. Let me know if you need any other help. I know that the rubrics are rigorous, and I know that the DOE is asking for a lot. So whatever way I can help you, please let me know.